If there's one thing most people don't know, it's that women never react passively when they sense a man is losing interest. They won't talk about it openly, but they start testing, provoking, and even changing their behavior, all in an attempt to figure out if they still have any power over you. But what if you could recognize these signs before getting caught up in this game? In today's video, I'll show you exactly what goes on behind the scenes of the female mind and how this knowledge can give you an advantage. The subtle changes in her behavior. When a woman notices that you're pulling away, her reactions start subtly. At first, it may seem like nothing has changed, but if you pay attention, you'll notice that she's becoming more observant. Suddenly, she's noticing more about what you do, how you respond, and even small habits of yours that she previously overlooked. This means your distance hasn't gone unnoticed. Another subtle shift happens in conversations. If things used to flow naturally, now you might notice that she's initiating more interactions. It could be a comment about something you talked about days ago, a question about your day, or even a seemingly random message. She's not necessarily desperate, but it's clear she doesn't want the connection to fade. And here's a small detail that most people miss. Her tone of voice may change. It might become softer, more attentive, or even slightly uncertain, like she's testing the waters before fully opening up. It's a small shift, but one loaded with meaning. If you spot these signs, one thing is certain: she's already noticed your distance and is trying to counteract it. The question is, will you respond to her move, or will you continue at your own pace? She wants to understand. What changed? When a woman senses that something is different, the first thing she does is try to figure out why. She starts replaying past encounters, messages, and conversations in her mind, looking for a moment that explains what happened. That's when those seemingly casual comments appear, but in reality, they're tests to gauge your reaction. Something like, "You've been acting different lately," or "Is everything okay?" If you respond dismissively or without much interest, her insecurity grows. She may also bring up special moments you shared or ask questions that force you to give a more engaged response. It's not that she wants to interrogate you. She's just looking for clues to determine whether your interest has truly faded or if it's all in her head. The bottom line is, she wants to understand what's going on. If you respond coldly or distantly, it could signal that you've really lost interest. But if you remain somewhat engaged, even without giving a clear answer, she might become even more intrigued and try to figure things out on her own. The game of indifference begins. If she realizes that her subtle signals aren't working, she might completely change her strategy. Instead of trying to understand what happened or keeping in touch, she'll now create distance. But don't be fooled. The goal isn't to disappear for good, but to see if her absence affects you. Suddenly, her messages become less frequent. When she does reply, her words are short and lack enthusiasm. The invitations that used to be common start to vanish, and when you're in the same place, she seems too busy to give you attention. It's not that she lost interest, she's just testing whether her absence makes any difference to you. Another classic move? Social media. Now she makes a point of showing how busy she is, how full her schedule has become, and how she's living her best life. It's her indirect way of saying, if you're not paying attention, someone else might be. But even while acting this way, she's still watching your reactions. If you remain indifferent, she might respond in two ways: doubling down to see if she can finally get a reaction out of you, or deciding that you're no longer worth the effort. 4. Attempts to make you jealous. If the indifferent strategy doesn't work, she might move on to a bolder plan, triggering your competitive instinct. It's not necessarily to hurt you, but to provoke a stronger emotional reaction and reignite your interest. You start noticing that she casually mentions other guys. Maybe it's the work friend who makes her laugh, a compliment she got from a stranger, or even a random story that places another man in the picture. The goal? To make you feel that while you're pulling away, someone else might be stepping. And social media plays a role here too. More polished photos, posts about fun nights out, captions suggesting she's loving this new phase of her life, all designed to create that lingering doubt. Has she really moved on? Even in direct conversations, her tone shifts. Phrases like, "It's been a while since I've met someone interesting," or "I'm really enjoying this new phase," subtly hint that your presence isn't as essential as it once was. It's a test to see if you care enough to do something about it. If you react by showing discomfort or trying to regain control of the situation, she'll know she's hit her target. But if your response is cold or indifferent, that might be the final signal for her to stop trying altogether. The shift between sweet and cold. Nothing else works, she might adopt an unpredictable strategy, switching between being affectionate and distant. This sudden change isn't random. She wants to leave you confused, unsure of how to react. One day, she's super attentive, sending spontaneous messages, giving subtle compliments, or even reminiscing about special moments you shared. The next day, she's a completely different person, taking longer to reply, being vague in conversations, or acting as if she's too busy to talk. This might seem like a psychological game, but often it happens unconsciously. It's a test to see how invested you still are. If you get excited when she's sweet, she might pull away on purpose to see if she misses you and if you'll keep chasing. This behavior can be frustrating, but it carries a clear meaning. She still cares. If she had truly lost interest, there would be no need to create this emotional back and forth. More than just keeping your attention, what she really wants is a reaction from you that proves you're still in the game. 6. She shows up where you are. If the subtle attempts haven't worked, she might take a more direct approach, making herself present in your life without openly saying it. And trust me, this is no coincidence. In the digital world, she starts dropping hints, liking old posts, leaving random comments on something you shared, or even posting things that reference conversations you once had. All of this serves as a reminder that she's still around, even without directly reaching out. In real life, the coincidences start happening. Suddenly, she starts frequenting the same places as you, whether it's your gym, your favorite coffee shop, or an event you casually mentioned. If you rarely bumped into each other before, now these random encounters seem to happen more and more. The goal? To be noticed, but without being obvious. She wants to create opportunities for you to take the initiative and show that you still care. If she senses that her presence still affects you, she might push a little further before deciding whether to move on. There's a secret to attracting women that only a small percentage of men know, and you could be one of them. Imagine knowing exactly what to say and do to awaken a desire in her that she doesn't even understand, but can't resist. This knowledge is now within your reach. And the best part? You don't need to be rich, handsome, or experienced. Thousands of men around the world are using this method to completely transform their love lives. And the most surprising part? It's so simple that you'll wonder why you never knew about it before. Curious to find out what it is and how it works? Don't let this opportunity slip away. Click the link below in the comments to watch the video and discover this unique method. It could be the missing piece you need to turn the game in your favor and finally attract the women you've always wanted. The answer you've been looking for is right there. When nothing works, she recalibrates the game. If all her attempts fail and you remain indifferent, she finds herself at a crossroads. Should she keep trying a little longer or accept that it's time to move on? And this is the moment when her approach changes drastically. Some women simply give up. They'd rather preserve their dignity than keep investing in someone who doesn't reciprocate. Suddenly, the messages stop, social media interactions disappear, and any attempt to maintain contact is cut off. This silence isn't a strategy to get your attention. It's a clear sign that she's accepted the situation and decided to move. Others, however, do the exact opposite. If they realize that pulling away didn't have the desired effect, they might make one last move. This could mean having a direct conversation where she finally opens up about her feelings, or it could be a drastic shift in how she interacts with you. Out of nowhere, she might seem completely detached and unreachable, trying to reverse the roles to see if this time you'll react. Regardless of what she decides to do, this is the defining moment. If your absence truly mattered to her, she might take a more sincere approach. But if she realizes there's no more room to keep trying, the game is over for good. And then comes the real question. Did you actually lose interest, or did you just enjoy watching her try? Now, if you want to dive even deeper into female behavior and learn how to handle these situations, don't leave the channel. Subscribe now and turn on notifications so you don't miss any content. And since there's already another video on your screen, click on it and keep uncovering the secrets of the female mind.